time to find out. Time to find out. What do we got going on here? Free agency. Is there anybody that can make us change our mind as to what's going on here? And the answer right now is not really. The AI are much better at not letting high overall players fall to free agency. It's a lot more of a rarity that you get like a franchise level player, a shot at a franchise level player in free agency, which is really nice. In terms of RFAs, Maverick Lamoureux, do we have any younger players that we might be able to steal relatively cheap? Consta Hellenius. We could go for Consta Hellenius. Vickers, 24. And then there's Miguel Marquez. Okay. It's a low 9 at this point, though, huh? That's unfortunate. So we'll see if we can steal Consta Hellenius away from the Kings. It's about 1.6 million to not have to give up any picks. So we'll see if we can get him. From the UFA perspective, top goaltender is Ville Husso. Again, we don't need a goalie at all. But Ville Husso is the top name right now. In terms of prospects, there was a medium starter named Hadobin. So we can go for him. And he ends up immediately accepting. Defensively, top guy out there, Jake Bean, Rasmus Sandin. Nobody overly crazy. In terms of potential, Kyrou, but he's 25. There is Berglund, 74 overall, 20 years old, and a medium 4. Allie Berglund has signed. That's nice. Suter, he's only a 64, but he might have some value. Andrew Suter, he signs. And then there'll be some medium 6s if we need them. Top right wing is Victor Arvidsson. In terms of potential, nobody crazy. Do we have anybody with potential? Furcus, Zdalov, and Lucius. And they're all at least 25. Yeah, the top forwards, Arvidsson, Pinto, Philip Kurashev. So we're not going to have too much to do in free agency. A lot of this is going to be, hey, how do our players develop in the offseason? And we take it from there. We can afford to go out. Ooh, Evgeny Malkin got better as a coach. We can afford to go out and sign one of the top coaches available here. But I do still like the idea, even if it's detrimental, of us using former players. It's just a lot more fun. So Guillermo Schneider. Let's offer you a buttload of money. And then we want one coaching vacancy so we can move players around or coaches around. And then for scouts, we need 3 of them. Go for Doug Waugh. Pat Rodney. Leave Rodney alone. And Zach Albert. So, yeah, free agency didn't change much at all. Not at all. Rodney is on as a scout. Zach Albert's on as a scout. You try to convince a player who doesn't want to come to the team. Yeah, we could. You just have to overspend for them. And there's nobody out there in free agency that I want. Have I won the cup yet? Absolutely not. Second round is the furthest we've made it.
Taste
Got
the
the Brushamoosh.
biscuit.
Sub,
Taste
thank you for that.
goodness of the biscuit.
How the heck are you? Hopefully better than me. Hellenius, we got to see if the Kings will match. And they did. Okay. Well, to the next season we go. And this is the least confident I have been in this team and our current setup since we have started. This is and this is rough. This is rough. We'll make it through. We'll make it through. You or Vasi. Vasi is 100% doing rosters. He's already put in a lot of work. I'm a bit more of a toss-up at the moment, but the temptation is there. All right. So if we look, we want to go to roster moves here. Goalie-wise, Egan Thielen, Ravensbergen, Hadobin. So we are going to need a fifth AHL goalie. Defensively, what is this shaping up to be? Goodness. Give me 1 second here. Take it. So we got Werenski, Yarosek as expected. Kaupinen, Goodrow is possible. Dayton, Villeneuve is possible. Obviously, our defense will look weaker than it has in a while. But I am willing to try it. See if we can get some of these freaking guys to develop. Isn't Vasi wasting time with the first update? I mean, it depends on how much work you're willing to put in. He's willing to put in the work that I'm not in regards to fixing the CHL and the AHL, which, fair play. But I've done that before, and yeah, I don't ever want to do that again because it's a lot of work. Definitely on paper, the defense looks worse, but that's okay. Send in the system. Get a couple more extras than we need, but that's not the worst thing in the world. Kyrou, Shields, Riopel. Leahy is a depth forward. Kivy is down to a minor league scoring forward. And then centers. Pinelli is now a depth forward. Interesting. So that's 10, 11, 12, 13 in total. But what do we look like then? What do we look like then? So again, we know Kyrou's locked in. Shields has to at least be a third liner if we're going to get proper development out of him. Riopel has to at least be on the fourth line if we're going to get proper development out of him. And then Leahy is currently a depth forward. Lindstrom, we know top line forward, same for Kachuk. Frondell and Gunderson are both listed as second line players, and I think we're going to have to choose between the two of them. I think we're going to have to. Del Belbaluz is a third liner, at the very least. Lamb is also a depth forward. And then center, Monahan, second line center. Jackson needs to be on that third line. And then you have Pinelli as a depth option, as a sniper, which makes a lot of sense. Okay. So that leaves us with an interesting predicament. When talking about Frondell and Gunderson, again, Gunderson, we want him to be a sniper because his shot is tremendous, but he plays too much like a two-way to the point where he has frickin' stick 'em up, which isn't helping. But it is true, we have only played him on the right. So in theory, we could play him on the left as a sniper, and then right wing side, we would need a playmaker. Leahy's got a good shot. Shields has a good shot, too. Fuck. We do not have enough room for all these guys to make this team function properly. We just don't. if we say that Gunderson has that spot, it drops Frondell down into third line contention. We keep Gunderson at sniper. That kind of is what it is. Lamb's fine where he's at. We would need a playmaker for that second line right wing spot right now. And Jackson is a lefty, which isn't totally ideal, right? For the sake of handedness, for once we talk about special teams. So we're missing a big time playmaker on that side. So the third line, Frondell, Del Bell Blues, then we got Jackson or Shields. Shields is currently a sniper, could be a playmaker, but does have a wicked shot. Jackson was a playmaker, and that's fine. I think we're getting an answer that some people aren't going to want. I think so. I'm thinking Del Bell Blues is out. If there's a third line sniper, it's him or Shields. DBB is 25. Shields is what, 20? He's 19. I think that's the end for Del Bell Blues, unfortunately. And he'll be used to try and get us that playmaker that we need. Riopel, being a fourth liner, I definitely need him to switch to grinder. I need him to switch to grinder. You could even argue a two-way, but we want him to use that physicality. So then we have Leahy, if we can develop him into a playmaker. Again, he does have a good shot, but if we can develop Leahy into a playmaker, that would help a lot, and we wouldn't necessarily have to trade for anybody, which would be nice. So he'd be fine there. And then Lamb at left wing also has a decent starting shot, but again, we're talking about him probably needing to be a two-way or a grinder just because of the people that are ahead of him. He does have good physicality as well. But you could also argue that guys like Riopel or Lamb, do we really want to try to develop someone with this trade value into a grinder, or do we just get rid of them and find someone who already fits that role, you know? That is the argument. So Lamb specifically, do we think he'd be a better sniper than Gunderson? No. Is he going to be a better two-way than Frondell? Frondell, by the way, who's not going to be happy on the second line. Ooh, okay, that might be the decider then. If we keep... Yeah, okay. Okay. There is an interesting scenario here. An interesting scenario. I think Lamb is going to stay, but we need you to turn into a two-way to take that third line spot, right? So Lamb is good to stay. Frondell or Gunderson, it's going to come down to which one of them is willing to change player type, or if Frondell is willing to change player type. Okay. Riopel is probably screwed. He's got the weakest shot of the two. He's got the weakest skating. There's just not really an opening for him to make it. Shields also has a better potential. They both do. Okay. So that fourth line will still have to be sorted out. We'll have Pinelli. Okay. I think we finally figured this out. I think we did. So the top line is going to be Kachuk, Lindstrom, Kyrou. Second line, Monahan center, Leahy on the right to try to get him to develop. But is he a sniper or a playmaker? That comes down to Frondell and if he's willing to talk over Gunderson. Although you could argue one way or another. Because Gunderson, sniper makes sense. But we'd have to change Leahy to a playmaker. If Frondell is willing to go playmaker, Gunderson goes. That way Leahy can say sniper. So Anton, if you want to stay on this team, buddy, you need to be willing to switch to playmaker or you are out today. He's not willing to change. Frondell's out. Just like that, it has been decided. Not willing to be what we need him to be, so he's gone. Leahy, are you willing to change to playmaker? If not, you are not playing in the NHL this season. He's not willing to change. So Leahy is going to be sent back to junior for the year. And we are going to need a playmaker for second line right wing, which we have assets that we're trading to move on from anyway. Lamb, I need you to be a two-way. If you're not willing to be a two-way, you're not making the team this year either. All right. It's just random if they're willing to change. There's some luck involved. There's some luck involved. I'll show you. So Lamb's also going back to junior. Screw you. Get out of here. And we are going to look for either a two-way or a power forward for that third line. So yeah, in terms of whether or not someone's willing to change, it'll tell you in the information that is there. I'll use Gunderson as an example, even though we're not going to change him. So it'll mention the younger the player, the lower their morale, the higher the overall will factor into whether or not they're willing to change. So obviously an older player is going to be more stubborn. The lower of the morale, if they're pissed at you, they're not likely to listen. And the higher the overall they are, the less likely they're going to want to change what they're already doing. Although sometimes it can help. So you see Persuasion success is listed as 50-50. So if we talk about the play style, he is willing to listen. And then it shows there what his star ratings are in each position. Again, the higher the player's overall and defensive attributes would affect his ability to turn into a two-way. Persuasion success, very risky. It's very risky for everyone. But then depending on the player type, like, okay, for a grinder, what's your physicality? Same for power forward. Playmaker, what's his puck skills rating look like? So there's a decent amount that goes into it. And it is on a player-by-player basis, so Gunderson's the sniper. We need a playmaker. There's no saving Del Belbaluz at this point. Riopel does want to be a fourth liner. Brennan, if you're not willing to become a big-ass playmaker, you are probably screwed. Probably. Please be willing to be a playmaker. Technically, Shields could help us too. Is Riopel willing to be a playmaker? No. Okay. Riopel's gone if Shields isn't willing to become a playmaker. So otherwise, Shields is making the team. Oh, nice play. Play style. Playmaker. Hey, he's willing to try. Okay. All right. That just changed things again. So Shields is willing to try and be a playmaker. as opposed to a sniper, meaning Riopel will be on the third line as a power forward still. And that does mean for the left wing side that Del Belbaluz is going to stay because he's all right with being on the third line, whereas Frondel is not. Okay. So Riopel and Del Belbaluz stay. It's Frondel that's in trouble now. Okay. And then we need to fill out the fourth line with people that can just run around and hit people. Okay. That has taken shape relatively well. Would it be better to train their attribute? No, because you don't know. Like, you could train someone up as a playmaker, and then he could just be like, no, I'm never going to be a playmaker. Fuck you. So you kind of got to put the cart before the horse, unfortunately. But that is just the way that it works. You got to kind of think long term. So we need a fifth goaltender for depth. Who's old at this point? Who's an old man? Jacob Markstrom. Perfect. Let's bring in old man Markstrom. That way he doesn't end his career on the free agent list. And let's explore offers for Frondel, who just doesn't really fit the team anymore. Dicka in a third, Radulov in a third. Okay, so Dicka or Radulov on Boston. Interesting. How good are these two? The Dika. Dika the Dika? Dika and Radulov, both 64 overall at 19 years old. Ugh, that's awful. That's awful. Is there anybody somehow willing to trade a first round pick? Because ideally, that is what we would like to get back. But again, I don't think the AI like ever have their first round picks on the market. It sucks. Pass that along. I'm like, man, come on. The AI is going to be willing to trade their first sometimes. Like, start of the season, I can kind of understand them not being willing to do it, but Rondell for Kent Johnson, right? Bring him back. There are a lot of teams that have traded first round picks. Yeah, the bet, Jesus Christ. Get our own first rounder back from the Sharks. San Jose would be over the cap. Rondell is on a really fucking good contract, too, but again, he just doesn't fit our team right now. In terms of what we need and what we're trying to do and just having like that well-balanced nature. That way we can say, well, if someone's in this role and they're not getting the job done, then hit the bricks. But yeah, we are not going to be able to get at least a cheap first-round pick. Hold him until the deadline. His value will drop because he won't be playing. So we need, again, Radulov and Dicka weren't that great. Only reason to pick them up would be to flip them. Is there any other team that is looking to move a half-decent prospect that's actually half-decent, as opposed to the scrubs that Boston are looking to give up? Yeah, Frondel didn't really take that next step up as a two-way that can actually produce points. Like, he was fine, and he is still a good player. It's just, for what we're trying to do with the team right now, and again, we're kind of being forced into this with the team. Oh my God. Well, that's just like a haul of prospects from the Sharks. Jesus. Not all of them are necessarily good, but yeah, because we have all these guys that can play so many different roles that we're trying to develop, it's just kind of pushed us into a weird spot. All right, we can go for a random first, or we could go for these two scrub-a-dubs from Boston and then look to flip them. And I'm leaning towards the scrub-a-dubs because their value shouldn't drop that much, and that gives us more assets to work with. So we know the Frondel's going. Let's just look at outright value. Leahy, of course, we sent back to junior for the year. Lamb, we sent back to junior for the year because they wouldn't quite play ball. Jackson's going to be our third liner. Riopel's going to be on the third line. Berglund in the AHL. Suter, we just signed, so I can't get rid of him without getting in trouble. What about guys, these low elites, dude, this just looks like a terrible potential this year. So Frondell, Dimitrakos, Rutu, Davison, and Vasilyev. For these two. And maybe some extra picks. Because your boys are hurting for picks right now. There's no way all these are going through, but a man can dream. Low elites did jump from 50 to 60. True, but I feel like their overalls are just too low for them to make it. Like, maybe they will have that crazy jump, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like their overalls are just a bit too low. I don't even know if this will go through, in fairness. Okay, this will go through. I just can't get a third rounder. What about some later picks over the next 2 years? Take out a sixth. And even a fifth rounder is a bridge too far, huh? What about a sixth rounder from Montreal? Wow. Okay. Frondell and the group of low elites. I mean, Dimitrakos is a 63 at 19. Rutu is a 64 at 20. Davison's 20. Vasilyev. I don't know. Yeah, maybe they will step up. At least I know that's an option. Who else can I possibly move, or what else can I possibly move to match that value? Villeneuve, Pinelli. I mean, Pinelli, how old are you at this point? 24? Got the low 4 and Clefbaum. What if we give up Pinelli? Instead of him being the depth forward, we'll just have somebody random. Clefbaum, Kaspar. And Pentakainen. Not enough. What if we take out Kaspar and do a pick? I'd like to get rid of Pentakainen, in fairness. He sucks. Fourth rounder this year? Yeah, this is the problem. What if we use a third? Keep Clefbaum. Is it worth keeping the low elites if we're going to have to give up that much extra? Honestly, talking about 2 third-round picks or keep the low elites. Wow, even that won't go through. The low elites are going. At that point, the low elites are going. Maybe we'll keep one of them. The best of the bunch. But yeah, they're going. They're going. Best of the bunch is Dimitrakos. I would still really like to get rid of Pentakainen. That guy sucks. All right. All the low elites are going. If they do end up developing, well, then damn. But, yeah, now's the time to move on from them then. So, Frondell and the low elites off to Boston for 2 medium elite prospects that aren't that good, but they will represent some more trade value closer to the deadline. We just have to get rid of Frondell now. He's going to be pissed if we don't play him. So, that is a done deal with Boston. Frondell is out. The needs of the team have changed a bit. And, unlike the Maple Leafs, we're actually willing to shake up a core if we have to. I mean, the team morale continues to take a bit of a hit because we have traded some serviceable players, but them's the breaks. So we need to go sign a fourth line. We are also well under the cap floor now. Well under the cap floor. So we need some cap whales here. Who do we have at center? A grinder. Matt Rempe might be coming back. Ooh, Zach LaRue. Yeah, let's go with Matt Rempe. We had him here last year, so maybe it'll cheer some people up that he's back. Dude, we have $38 million in cap space right now. That's insane. So $10 million for Matt Rempe. Left wing side. Get me someone that's going to play some physical hockey. We could also technically go for 2 ways. But we are going to have two ways up top with Lindstrom and Monahan. I guess technically we're going to sign Jen Janique. How far down is the next grinder? Curtis McDermott, Michael Pezzetta. We'll go for the old Pez dispenser. Give Michael Pezzetta some money. A whole near 10 million bucks. And then right wing side, Keegan Colasar. We won't have to give Colasar too much money. 10 million. Closer to 10 million will still be fine based off cap. There we go. Cool. What does giving them 10 million do? It's to make sure that we're above the cap floor. If you are below the cap floor, the minimum amount that you're supposed to spend, of course, it'll readjust the contracts that you already have to make you cap compliant. So it'd probably make Brady Tkachuk make like $10 million a year. And then you can't fix it. Once it does that, it just screws up your contracts long term. So always make sure that you're above the cap floor. Always. All right. So this team for this upcoming season. Let's take a look here. And I don't know if Jamie Benn will be our coach. Werenski, Yarosek, Kaupinen, Goodrow, Dainton, Villeneuve. Pretty much how I want it. Again, Goodrow was the 3rd overall pick that we are going to try to brute force develop here. And if he's not doing well enough, we can always go out and trade for somebody. And then forwards, Luca Pinelli needs to be out for Keegan Colasar. So let's actually send down Pinelli for the moment and then go best lines again. That'll help us a little bit. So we're taking a little bit of a step back this year compared to what we've had in prior seasons for hopefully the benefit of the team in the future. You see. Now, whether or not that'll actually work out that way is an entirely different question. And some of it still does depend on certain prospect development. But again, right now, the biggest thing is we need Harvey Shields to become a playmaker. But that top line should thrive. It should. It is a very, very well-rounded team. And then AHL-wise, we'll have to call it Pinelli anyway. Let's see. So up goes Pinelli. Everything's good there. So the AHL, if we were to optimize this too, fortunately it's not +5. Not yet, though. Again, we might be changing coaches. So it could be. Ravensbergen and Markstrom. We'll take out Markstrom. We'll let Hadobin get some playing time. Doubt it'd make much of a difference. That's the other. That's the other aspect, for sure. For sure. We got Suter at a medium 4. What is Pentakinen? He was a medium 6. So we'll get Suter in there. And then Clefbaum for Beekoff. That's fine. We are going to want Suter and Berglund to be that top pairing. They have the top 2 potentials. And then for the forwards, we do love Hunter McCown. I don't know if he'll be staying, though. Totally Spanish. Be better to get Radek Gaspar in there. Strats, what's going on? York? Do we have a center? We don't. Okay, cool. All right. So, taking a look at potentials. Whole bunch of medium 9s. Radulov was a medium elite. I mean, outside of Radulov needing to be on the top line, the only other goal there is just highest rated players on the higher lines, at least until injuries screw us over. I might turn injuries off. We'll see. Let's see, 70, 75. So that's all looking good. Galyanov just keeps developing, man, even though he's a low 9. I am very intrigued to see if he's actually going to end up being NHL caliber. Guess we're playing Hunter McCown at center because the actual center is atrocious. Atrocious. All right. So the AHL, definitely a younger team trying to develop them as opposed to what the AHL previously was, where we just had a bunch of veterans to win a Calder Cup. So Jamie Benn, how good of a fit are you as head coach of the team? 68% is the fit. What about for Guillermo Schneider? 56. Ugh. What about Chris Tanev? 60. Drew Doughty, 60. Gino, 50. Blake Wheeler, 58. And then Brent Burns, 61. So clearly in terms of like the best line chemistry, it's Jamie Benn. Otherwise, we go with like Guillermo Schneider just as the best coach overall. But I'm willing to continue to try to train up Jamie Benn. We are going to actually bump up Drew Doughty. Ben went out last time, but I don't know. It could be a risk. It could be. Especially when apparently he has a good power play rating. But I'm willing to give it a shot. We could always make a change mid-season as well, if need be. And then AHL-wise, 53% for Tanev. Malkin, 59%. Wheeler, 64. And Brent Burns. All right, Blake Wheeler. You are the head coach in the AHL. Congratulations. We don't need an AHL goalie coach, really. So I'm willing to give Jamie Benn another shot. Why not? Again, is it actively detrimental to the team? You could say that. Is it still what I prefer to do? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Especially because we don't, have licensed coaches in the game, so that's kind of the closest we can get, right? Mr. Wah, you are going to the queue. Find me a Patrick Wah regen, please. Please, please, please. So, we know what the team's going to look like then. We do have our goals for the season to set up. This will be another interesting aspect. Monahan, Lindstrom, Werenski, still the leadership core, which is good. So let's see then. Contracts. Gabriel Daig, last year of your ELC, buddy. Or, I guess your second real contract. No, it was his ELC because we waited to sign him, didn't we? Your goal for the season is going to be awards, buddy. Win the Vezina. Will a high-rated goalie be able to win the Vezina? No. Yeah, by the way, it is true. He developed a shitload of abilities. That's fair. I just kind of overlooked it. Yeah, he had Butterfly Effect. He now has No Timer, Whirlwind, Last Stand, and Showstopper. In theory, he should be a monster. In theory. Melker Thielen, our backup goaltender. Let's have you post a 9-10 save percentage this season. Please and thank you. Then in the system, there's no point from what we've seen in the signing goals, so that's fine. Defensively, Zach Werenski. Buddy, I have essentially chosen you over Evan Bouchard. Your goal for the season is going to be quite simple. Win the Norris. Do what Bouchard could not and win the Norris. I believe in you. As a two-way, it's still really fitting for him to be a two-way as opposed to an OFD as well. David Yarosek, now 25 years old, still very fitting for him to be a two-way. Yeah. And your goal for the season, see how much Dag wants for an extension, a lot, which is why we're not going to give it to him immediately because I'm willing to let him go to free agency and potentially get offer sheeted because goalies are probably still not worth spending the money for. David Yarosek, your goal for the season, 40 assists, a plus 25. Let's go plus 25. Let's go with plus 25. Kauppanen. Imo Kauppanen is developing decently as a defensive defenseman. Definitely still worth being a defensive defenseman, and as a result, we'll have to set a goal that really lines up with his player type. So, short-term goal. Unless there's an X-Factor challenge that makes sense, there is not for his particular abilities. So, season goal for Chemo. And then the other two are going to happen. 30 assists, plus 20. Try to get that shot blocking up there. Not the craziest goal in the world, but still worth the signing. Dallas Dayton. Still set up well as a DFD. We're going to give him the same goal. Just try to block some shots. It should be attainable. Actually, if we did short term. Stat challenge. Goals, assists. Okay, yeah, that's not going to happen. That is not going to happen. Stat challenge. Block shots. All right. Gaudreau. The rookie defenseman, Daniel Gaudreau. Two-way is still totally fair. I don't think he'll be able to put up the points to win the Calder. So we're going to give him that goal of stick around on the NHL roster. And that should be attainable because obviously we're in control as to whether or not we send him down. Anton Johansson, I mean, it'll be the goal of just stick around on the roster if we can assign that. Which we cannot. So we'll just say, if you play, block shots when you do. And then we have Villeneuve, who we are going to give another chance to. Solely because he has a really hard shot. On ice play. Can I get you to switch to a right defenseman full time? Right D. Hey, he's willing to try. Okay. Thank you very much, Xavier. And then your goal for the season. Oh, boy. Yeah, 30 goal. Okay, they got to work on... they got to work on those. They got to work on those and give you different options. Long-term goal, Xavier. Stack goal, 20 goals, 30 assists, a plus 15. Let's try a plus 15. It's probably the most likely for him. All right. In the system, I don't think we had any position changes to do. Or player types. Callie Berglund. Dude, Callie Berglund looks sick. What the hell is Utah doing? He was the 14th overall pick, and Utah didn't sign him. He's listed as a two-way, but man, with that passing ability, he could develop into a really good offensive defenseman. So that is kind of the goal now, is are you willing to be an OFD? Offensive? Well, two-way is still not that bad, but I really do think he could be a great OFD. Luca Morelli, listed as a two-way. I mean, DFD is probably for the... It's, whatever, it's fine. Brent Roloff, listed as a DFD, totally fair. Jerry Terrell, two-way. Yeah, that's fair. Andre Bekoff as a two-way, totally fair. Nick Lefbaum, totally fair. Derek Johnston, totally fair. Andrew Suter. Got good shot accuracy, but again, two ways probably fair. And then Pentakainen, you are terrible. Two way is also fair. Right wing side, Jordan Kyrou, goal for the year. Crap load of assists. It was your same goal last year, and we're doing the same thing this time. Try to get that gold X factor, buddy. Third eye, 60 assists. Lofty heights, but you never know. Shields, we already have him trying to switch to playmaker over the next 2 months. His goal for the season, though, is tough. I mean, if we're trying to get him as a playmaker, 40 assists. Let's aim high, Harvey. Let's aim high here. Prove to me you can be that top 6 playmaker that I need. Riopel on the third line. Him. I was going to say he or him. As a power forward was fine. Your goal for the season. None of those are going to happen. So your goal for the season will actually be stat-based. 30 goals, 40 assists, plus minus a 20, average a shot. Oh, my God. Well, Brendan, you're not going to hit any of these fucking goals. I'll tell you that right now. Not a single one. Can we do an award challenge? There you go. Just win an award. Shock the world. Win an award. None of those are going to happen. And then Keegan Colasar. Literally, buddy, you're just here to hit people. I just need you to run around and hit people. Again, we need to be able to develop physical X factors. Hopefully that is being changed soon. Keegan, your short-term goal, stat-wise. Okay, Keegan, you don't have a goal. Let's be honest. It's good talk, Keegan. Good talk. Stanley Cup champion, Keegan Colasar, everybody. In the system, Leahy. We sent back to juniors, so we can't talk to him right now. Poirier. We continue to have develop as a sniper. I mean, again, could be a playmaker as well, but for now, I think he's fine. No need for a goal for the season. Hunter McCown is a grinder. We know that. Crooks developing as a playmaker, which is totally fair. Zhashki as a two-way, which is fair. You could kind of argue sniper. You could kind of argue playmaker. But two-way is fine. It'll give him a better chance to make the team. And then Carlos Flugens. Training up as a playmaker. I mean, could argue two-way. Could argue sniper with that shot power. We had Crooks as a playmaker already. Yeah, you know what? Old Carlos Flugens. Let's see if we can get you to try to switch to sniper here. He's willing to try. Love me a Latvian. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see. Left wing side. Caden Lindstrom. Same goal as always, buddy. Win yourself a Selke trophy. Win yourself a Selke trophy. You are so damn good defensively. You should be able to pull that off. And also, on ice play, position, change position. Fuck, he just refuses to become an outright center. Damn it. Brady, what the hell is your goal for the year going to be? I don't think he'll be able to do well enough to win an award. So what's a stat challenge? 50 goals, 60 assists. 50 goal scorer, Brady Tkachuk. Let's see if he can do it. Let's see. Gunderson. Gunderson, my man, this is a big time for you. This is a big time for you. X Factor challenge. 30 goals it is to get snipe. We need you to actually... You'll do your best. You fucking better. We need you to be a sniper, not a two-way. Luca Del Bel Blues. You've survived again. You have survived again in terms of not getting traded. It's unlikely with you being on the third line because you couldn't do it when you were on the second. 30 goals, Luca. That's the goal. That is the goal. Pizzetta, just you're good. Don't worry about it, buddy. In the system, Lamb got sent back to junior. Galyanov, training up as a playmaker. Fair. You could argue sniper. Menier, training up as a two-way. This guy should be a playmaker. So if he's willing to become a playmaker, we'll try to get Galyanov to sniper. Let's see if Ty Menier is willing to change here. You could argue it's worth waiting until the adaptability off-season stuff's gone through as well, but whatever. Are you willing to become a playmaker, Ty? Hell yeah, brother. Let's go. Let's go. Ty Menier. So Galyanov. Yeah, I mean, you're a good playmaker, but you have that shot power. Are you willing to try and train up as a sniper? No, he is not. All right, well, you might have competition from Menier then to be a future playmaker for us. Kaspar, training up as a grinder. Perfect. McLeod, training up as a power forward. Again, we were talking about you before. We need you to also train up to be a grinder. You are never going to have a shot at cracking an NHL lineup. He's willing to try. All right, Xavier. Fair play. Fair play. I'm just trying to help you. And then for the centers, Sean Monahan. Goal for the season will be pretty straightforward. It is to, again, compete for the Selke Trophy. Yeah, because X Factor-wise, it's not really going to work out. So, season goal, long-term, award challenge, compete for the Selke. And that'll also help his skating not fall off a cliff now that he's getting older. Jackson, our third-line playmaking center. Your goal for the season. Raymond high with this one, buddy. 40 assists. It's unlikely, but you never know. That leads us to Pinelli, who's a depth option. We still have him as a sniper, which is fine. Rempe's going to be fine. In the system, Gonchar, training up as a sniper. If he's willing to switch to two-way, he'll have a better shot. Sniper's not terrible for him, but he'll definitely have a better chance if he's willing to go two-way. He's going to try. Okay, so we're getting some good responses here. Not everybody is willing to make those changes, but the guys that are going to have a better chance of making the team. York, sniper's fine. This guy's bad. Danny Dicka is with Guelph. Sergei Radulov is in the AHL. Has him set up as a grinder, but he has good passing-ish. Can't skate worth a damn. Can barely play defense. The shot isn't that good. Grinder's probably fair. Again, I don't even think we're keeping that guy long term. So the stage is set for yet another season then. The big question actually is going to be this conversation with Jamie Benn. Because every year I've done the preseason training of coaching. Make the playoffs. Now, am I allowed to do this and then do the preseason talk? If I agree, make the play. Okay, so see, I need to start doing that more. And then preseason. Conditioning, endurance, and acceleration, but you lose, and speed, but you lose puck control. Strength, body check, and aggression, but you lose discipline. Deking, puck control, hand-eye, but you lose defensive awareness. Puck control, defensive awareness, offensive awareness, but we lose a bit to deking. Honestly, 5v5 focus is pretty good. That's pretty damn good in terms of the trade-off. So is strength training, to be honest. Losing discipline's not the biggest factor in the world. Power play, you lose defensive awareness. Penalty kill, you lose offensive. Video sessions, you lose shot power. Team bonding just helps morale. And then goalie focus, again, there's no negative at all, which is amazing. Which is why we normally do it. But I feel like this year, maybe we shouldn't. Then again, it is our way of testing. Like, I mean, you can get a goalie's trade value up there with that. That's for sure. I think we try either 5v5 or physical. The strength training loses discipline. 5v5 loses deking. We get body checking, aggression, or strength, or awareness. Let's go for 5v5 focus. Let's try that. Let's try that. I mean, Daig already has that super high rating too, so. But this might make the team overall better, right? As opposed to just the goaltenders. So I am good with that, and I want to see what we look like. All right, Chilson, he's already an 89, man. He's looking damn good. I'm definitely testing to see if it's worth investing in high-rated goalies, and, well, it's not looking too good in terms of it being worth it, but Hunter McCown has an injured shoulder. Should make him better. Just marking down some notes here that I'm going to be sending along. So then let's see. The 2030 Columbus Blue Jackets. Certainly different. Kachuk, Lindstrom, Kyrou. Shields, Monahan. Ooh, Monahan jumped back up to an 89. And Gunderson. Del Bel Baluz, Jackson, Riopel, and then Kolasar, Rempe, Pizzetta to punch faces. Defensively, Werenski and Yarachek. Kalpanen, Goodrow, Villeneuve, Dayton. Obviously, that right side's looking a bit shaky, but Goodrow's going to develop fast. And then goalie-wise, Daig is a 90, Thielen at an 83. So I think the off-season development stuff also went through on top of the preseason focus, which is awesome. Dude, Lindstrom, 99 offensive awareness, 96 defensive. I just need him to be willing to switch to a full-time center so I can make those face-offs even better. Despite all the trades, right? Like, we had to move on from Fantilli. We had to move on from Bouchard. Despite all of these trades, this team is still sick. This team is still sick. This team should still be competitive. Keyword, should be.